What's up, everybody? It's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. Come on in. Alright, so today, drop a like in the comments if you will. I know it's Sunday, I know it's football Sunday, and everybody's all about that football. But I'll give you guys a view. I am driving, and this camera doesn't give it justice, but there's mountains all around. And a lot of traffic. Boy, Denver has a high amount of traffic and a ton of construction everywhere, to which leads me to go, if you're a man and you're not, and I've seen a ton of semi trucks as well, if you're not in construction or trucks, I just don't understand, and you're having a hard time getting a job, and people say, well, Erica, the cost of living is very high, it's hard to do construction here. Even if you know the cost of living is high, you're gonna have to move outside the city. This is amazing, it's beautiful, but I can tell it's expensive. I went on Zillow and did a few looks and went on realtor.com, and I was like, ooh, buddy. So I did the workshop yesterday, and I had some messages today that made me had to address it. Some people say, man, you're a master of all trades, jack of none, or no, jack of all trades, master of none. And I hate that phrase. I strongly dislike that saying, because essentially what it's saying is, oh man, you can do all these things, you dabble, but I'm not a dabbler. I'm a very concise studier, and I make very smart moves, like a chess piece. I'm an investor. So again, if you've watched this channel for years, and you've heard me 57 times recommend Cashflow Quadrant, let me recommend it again. Go read Cashflow Quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki. I read that book, and immediately it transformed my life. I gave it to my mother. I gave it to, I think I bought like 10 books and gave it to just everybody I could think of. I even sent one to a prison, part of the prison ministry at our church. Send books. And I was like, the difference is sometimes when people are, and again, Cashflow Quadrant, you can kind of tell people where people are in the conversation of what they say. So E is employee, S is self-employed, B is business to bigger business, where you have employees under you, big business, honestly. And then I is investor. Now, E is employee. Many people say they're just looking for a safe, secure job. Safe, secure job. You meet a military person or a cop or somebody that works with the government, and they always talking about pension and benefits. When I was in Detroit with Asia, people were sitting there talking about, they're fighting for their benefits, their rights. That's a hard job. I'm like, yeah, but that's on them as an adult to make sure their future is secure. It's not the company's job to make sure they're secure. People are like, no, they deserve benefits. That's hard work. And I say, well, they're getting paid pretty well. They should be putting money into healthcare anyway. So again, as you can see, Michigan and all these upper states where people are leaving, and the union, in my opinion, destroyed a lot of the opportunity for people, because at the end of the day, if you guys can see the mountains here, end of the day, the company don't have to do any of that. They really don't. Elijah, I will go ahead and refund you the ticket. I actually emailed you multiple times and sent you my personal phone number so you could find the location. The location was never on the ticket. It's always released in the emails. So I'll go ahead and get that refund working through today. But anyways, back to the conversation. Now, that's E. Now, S is self-employed. What is self-employed? Self-employed is a person who, I'm at my job, but I can make $155 an hour if I do it myself, right? Or if I have my own small company, or I get my own contracts. That's self-employed, right? Self-employed will always be, your doctors, your dentists, your chiropractors. Your self-employed can be your hairdresser, your whatever. Now, what happens sometimes with the self-employed is basically they created a higher paying job for themselves, and they get stuck there. Trust me, I know it, because they make a lot more money, but then they realize, I'm stuck. Either I have to hire more people to work underneath me, or I just want to keep all the money myself. Now, what happens is, this is how you know you're talking to somebody who's self-employed. No one can do it quite like me. No one can do it like me. Like, you'll hear that every bit of the conversation. I've had people I talk to, I'm like, well, can you just outsource that? Well, nobody can do it like me, Erica. It's a really important job. I just can't let anybody do it. And you'll hear that like 57 times in a conversation. Trust me, over the course of the weekend at the conference, all these different people talking about their real estate companies and how they're struggling to hire, and I'm like, it's a job. Just write down what you do and then give it to other people, right? But again, they get caught up in no one can do it like me. B, for big business, big business means you have, 500 or less employees, which we've talked about in other channels. Over 24 million companies have 500 employees or less in America. Majority of Americans are hired by smaller businesses. Hence, that's when, Trump and these people talk about raising business taxes on people that make $250K a year. That's what the average, dentist or plumber or person who owns a small business pays themselves. So when you raise taxes on them, again, who does that hurt? Employees, right? Eventually it hurts the lower level employees. Now, I is for investor. I is a person who has capital, takes that capital and puts it somewhere. And that somewhere can be monthly dividend stocks, it can be notes, mortgage notes, real estate, any of these things. Now, I posted a picture on Instagram, and it's not me, just to make sure I don't want anybody trying to come find me to rob me. It's a picture of a guy with a bunch of money on the table and a monthly real estate rental property checks on the table. And this happens all over America. Every day, every month, all over America. And what people fail to realize is you have all these celebrities. Oh yeah, you should just rent an apartment. That's better for you. You just stay in an apartment. But they're not showing you where 90% of people, that's where they get their freedom, is the responsibility and ownership of what? Either a business or home ownership. And that home ownership can be in the place of an actual home or rentals, right? And so what ends up happening is people get really excited about trucking and small business and e-com and Shopify stores and trading stocks, because anything to not have to own a piece of property, anything to not have to do the real big level ownership stuff, okay? And many people get offended. They're like, Erica, you're being elitist, you're talking a certain way. I promise you, if you talk to the average person, they just want to kind of exist, right? I went out after the event the other day and I was at a bar just sitting, drinking and talking. And this guy was saying how, yeah, all the girls, whenever people come here, they think all the guys hike all the time. And I said, well, if you live in Colorado, you're surrounded by mountains. Well, what do you do if you're not hiking? What if you do if you're not outside? And this guy had that face like, well, you can play video games, you can do other stuff. And I wanted to go, this is America, where people live 2 feet from a mountain, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour from a mountain, from skiing, from snowboarding. But yet they just want to exist. Now, what does exist mean? They just want to do bare minimum, go to work, come home, eat food, eat Chipotle, chill out, and then get mad when life does not present award-winning money for that. Very upset. Very upset. I showed up. I went to work. I mean, you see it in all the chats. I showed up. I went to work. Where's my hot model wife? Where's my big life? Now, even there was an article that came out, and I posted it on Instagram and I posted it on Facebook. It said it was a study out of Netherlands, so let's be very careful. It's from Europe. Men who do more housework than other men, their marriages end in divorce. Now, I already know when they wrote this article kind of what was happening, but let's just be honest. If people have to come home from work and do more work, then they're more likely leading to frustration. Now, this goes back to that circular conversation. If you want a traditional wife and a traditional life, you need to make traditional decisions. What are traditional decisions? Make more money so she can stay home. That's how that works. And what's happening is you're having the reality that people are having to come home and actually clean up and cook too. Oh my God, I'll have to come home and cook and clean? No way. I'm out of this thing, right? You mean I have to do work? Yeah, man, you gotta do work. So what I'm reading more and more in every study and everything we're reading is people are refusing to do bare minimum responsibility. They're waking up and going, I have to wash dishes. I gotta feed these children. I gotta take them places. Now, I'm not making light of this, but this is very, very true. Okay, the last, I think, 24 cases of the children being found in the car in the summer heat have been men. Now, I'm not saying that as a knock to men, because there's a ton of terrible moms leaving these children in the car. But they were saying this summer was an uptick of men leaving the kids in the car. And I said, you know why? Because they're having to do what? Drop kids off at daycare, drop kids off, take kids places, and they're tired. When they're having to share responsibility, now everybody's tired. And unfortunately, kids suffer in that. So what does this have to do with the main talk of what I'm talking about? Is realizing where you are on the spectrum. Are you an employee? Are you self-employed? Are you business, or are you investor? If you're with someone, you need to make it clear what you think your life is with them, and as you identify yourself. Something I do at all my events is I ask people to describe what you do in one sentence. And people really struggle with it. Every time I do this at any event, I go, describe me yourself in one sentence. What you do and who you are in one sentence. And so many people struggle. I knew the day I read Cashflow Millionaire, I was an investor. I knew when I was working 2 jobs, I still knew I was an investor. I was putting away anywhere from $50 to $300 a week. And I knew, I said, I cannot. Like when I got my real estate license, I was like, I'm not born to chase people around to do real estate deals. That's not what I do. They're to come to me, right? And, you know, this guy was like, oh, well, that's everybody has to chase a little bit. And I'm like, no, they don't. We can do different things. Now, part of why I knew that was reading that book and reading many other books as well. But that's the number one I recommend to you, because you can hear it in the conversation. When I talked to my parents, before my father died, it was always about security. Other military people, retired military people, the first thing they tell you about is like, well, you know, the government has this other thing where they owe us some more money. They're always looking for more money from the government for their service. Now, this is not a knock. Veterans deserve, hey, get what you can get. But in that mindset frame, what does it do? It keeps them locked where? In the employee security mindset. You're also, on the flip side, a veteran who can get all kinds of business loans and business grants and land and all these other things that they can give you. But again, people get locked in. Yep, get that disability check. Gotta get my disability check. They owe me some more money. I need some more money. It's like, bro, we know that. We know that. You know? So the key here is your mindset. And when you guys see me, and I don't want to do a disservice to y'all as y'all watch me document my journey, that, oh, Erica's just out here doing 4 or 5 different businesses. No, I'm not. I have 6 employees. I have people who literally, they were, as soon as the ideal came in my head, I'm like, how are they can be hired? How can I hire them to not, I don't have to do any of that. It's the number one question I ask every time. I'm like, well, how can I hire somebody so I don't have to do that? When I was working on those 10X people, they were like, hey, we want you to do this, this, and this. I'm like, oh, no. How can I? And they're like, no, we know you're busy, Miss Williams. All these things will not require your presence. Only a few hours of you doing it in the beginning, and then we're done. You can be free. I'm like, good. Because that's not what I signed up for. I'm not signing up for me to do a bunch of work. Right? Yeah, that cash flow shirt. Yes, Grant Cardone Capital. But anyway, the reason I bring that up is people will see these, you know, people making fun of the landlord shirts, the rent is due shirts, and people get mad, right? People get real mad about that because they think, you know, y'all making fun of people being your renters. No, that you just realize financial freedom in America really comes at the hands of mostly of real estate business. Now, many people, what they'll say is, oh, Erica, I don't want to own a house. You know, owning a house ain't for everybody. Who taught you that? Who taught you that? Who's marketed that to you? Who has marketed lack of responsibility to you? Because that's what it is. I mean, we can be very clear. A lot of people say, well, Erica, I'm a single woman. I got cats. I got dogs. I can't cut grass. I can't fix this. I can't fix that. Okay. But where is your income going to come from? It's not coming from the government. It's not coming from a husband. You're going to have some responsibility in the hand of retiring yourself. It just is what it is. And when you see me on this journey, let me make it very clear, all these things are responsibility, but then me hiring somebody is even responsibility in that, make sure they get paid. Now, third on that, in that cycle of me talking about responsibility is, when I say I'm an investor, sometimes you guys see, well, you're doing trucks, you're doing real estate, it didn't start off like that. I would stay and have hyper focus for 90 days on a project. So I had a few Shopify sites that got started. Hyper focus 90 days, hired somebody, they take over it, they do everything. Done. Hyper focus 90 days, getting these trucks rolling, working with and finally getting a third party company that handles pretty much everything, and I just make sure I get checks on Friday. Done. Right? Now, you know, everything has its limits and people want to milk something to death, right? This guy asked me the other day, well, what about all these what about all these companies that are closing? I said, well, honey, if you're only going to get 1 or 2 trucks, focus on your 1 or 2 trucks being at a great company and making you money. And then take all your energy and all that money those trucks are making you and go put that money in real estate. Fast money to slow money. I say it over and over and over and over, and I think you guys think I'm joking. But fast money to slow money is all about people get really caught up. They're a one-trick pony. Yeah, higher responsibility, higher payments. Exactly. People are sometimes a one-trick pony. What does that mean? A one-trick pony is somebody who's like, I found this thing that works. And this is how I know you guys haven't read like Who Moved My Cheese and other stuff like this, because that's the one-trick pony stuff. When you find one thing that works, you're like, I got my one thing that works and I'm going to pump it to death. No. I get it. You like trucks. Trucks are fancy. They're sexy. You know, it's great to have ownership in an industry that's booming. It's a $1 billion industry. But what else will you do with that said money? Trust me, when I meet people who have family, again, prime example, when I was at my dentist office, oh my God, the air's going up, you guys. Hold on. Okay. Woo. Oh, honey, I have automatic. So if you guys read the Smartphone Millionaire book, which I hope you have, before the second copy comes out, the updated copy, I always have those things on automatic draw. Those things are on automatic. Acorns, all those things are automatic. They're automatic investments. Stop How, automatic. Rich Uncles, automatic. Don't give it too much thought, because then you're trying to force this willpower that you don't have. You're creating habits by making things automatic. Now, what I was saying about the trucking, my dentist, when I was at the dentist office, we're talking, and he's, all of a sudden we're talking, and I'm like, could you please hold on? I have to email my drivers. He said, what? You got a driver? I'm like, yeah, I got several trucks. I got like 6 trucks. He started laughing. He's like, well, I have a truck in the oil fields. Now, this dentist has a dentist office in one of the richest sides of Austin, Texas. A very, very, very nice office in Austin, Texas. And over there, he has a staff of, let me think right now, I'm trying to do the math. I think there's a staff of 6 people in there, maybe 7. And he refers people to, dental surgeries he can't do and all that good stuff. He had multiple rooms in his office. But me and him are sitting side by side, across from each other at a desk. And we're both truck owners. Because guess what? Even though he has a lot of money, guess what? His money has to go somewhere. It has to be invested. And what you're seeing is, prime example, alternative financial medicine. Dr. Kenyon Meadows. He talks about how you meet all these doctors. My ears are popping, y'all. Ears are popping. You'll meet all these doctors who are broke. Like, well, they're just in the debt up to their eyeballs. Sorry, y'all, I had to get this can. They're in the debt up to their eyeballs because they don't know where to put the money. They're just so looped into the title of being a doctor, they don't really invest like that. You can purchase the tax lien and business funding course in the links that I will put in the video after it's over. If Doug or anybody's here, that'd be great if you could throw the links in there. Yeah, doctors looking for alternative income because they're making, $150,000. If they're a plastic surgeon, they're making close to $500,000, if not $2 million, $3 million a year, depending on the plastic surgery area. And they need to take that money and do what? Make it make more money. And so this is what you're seeing out here in the economy, that you have a lot of high income earners who need to do what? Make their money make more money. So at any given moment, you could break your hand and now you're not longer a doctor. Well, not a doctor that can do surgery. You may be able to teach students, but you guys heard me talk about that. If you're a nurse, guess how much they're paying? If you're a nurse making $92,000 to $100,000 a year, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, can't be a nurse anymore, but you can go teach. Now you're going to be making $60,000 a year, right? That's a cut. And what people don't understand is, and what you're seeing in the economy more and more is people, when times are good, they're out here buying damn trucks and cars and crap and new houses and hot tubs and motorcycles. And then all of a sudden a bump comes in the game. A little bit of bump hits them, and then they're like, oh my God, here, about to lose everything. I got to sell my motorcycle. I got to sell my truck. Well, why? Because they never put any money away. The reason people in China are, just living their best life is, if you guys can Google a couple articles right now if you want. China middle class investing in America. Just go Google it, look it up. It's where you have several Chinese middle class saving 30% of their income, and they need investment. So guess where they're investing in America, in New York, in New Jersey, with the funding and flipping sites. They're investing in getting returns on their money, getting returns via notes, via funding flips, all that stuff. Yeah, I thought y'all might want to look at this view more than just looking at my face. I would turn it some more to get it off that thing. There we go. That's a little bit better. But that's the thing. In order to know, and thank you guys for the likes. There's 34 likes and 154 of y'all in here. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. But the thing is, for sure. But Curtis, that's the thing. There's a book called Why is that idiot rich and I'm not? Please go pick that up. You'll laugh your butt off. And it's called, he always says right side up, or a rube, right? So they're doing things the right way. Like they went to school, they got a job, they got a house, they got married. They're doing all the right things, but guess what they're not doing? Investing. These trucks are going slow up this hill. Wow. They're not investing. And the rich idiot is doing what? Nothing but investing. Someone who made a comment, and I thought about this the other day. He posted on Instagram, he said, the bank only insures you up to $250,000. So if you're a rich person with $1 million, what would you do? Now, he says most people are going to split it across 4 accounts because each account will be $250,000 insured. Now, he said, if you're really smart, what would you be doing? You'd be putting all that money to work so that monthly you're getting cash flow coming in. It's so nice over here, y'all. Monthly, you'd be getting cash flow coming in because that's the real game changer. When we really sit down and do the numbers or what some people actually need to live a month and thrive. Oh, it's a horse. Sorry. Sorry, you guys. I'm like, oh, a horse. Need to thrive. For some of y'all, it's only $3 to $5 grand a month. Now, for people, it's 10 to 15K a month to really live like you want to live. Then you know what you need to be doing. Every time you get up a 10K or 15K or 20K, you need to be putting that money into what? Some type of investment that will return your money. What's an easy one? Real estate. It just is what it is. Real estate. Now you say, Erica, I don't have big lump sums of money like that. Well, then in the meantime, I would be just stacking my money, $200 to $300 a week into what? Monthly dividend stocks, different income producing notes. I still invest in Lending Club, but mostly just business loans. And I have some money left over in Prosper. I have not logged into Prosper in a long time though. But you can even on Lending Club and Prosper, you can put it on automatic where it'll draw from the account. Why is it blurry? Hold on. There it is. It should be fixed. There we go. Yeah, Colorado. You could literally set it up so that it's just automatically reinvesting for you. So a lot of times, if you guys read the book, a lot of those things, if you just put 1 or 2 of those things to work, you'll start to see changes in your life. And I get really frustrated when people are like, oh, you're a jack of all trades. No, I'm just a person who worked a job. And this is the truth of life. Life requires change. Okay? What is change? You work a job, you've been in the job a year or 2, you realize you're going to need more money. What do you have to do? Change or get another job. All right, you get another job, you realize, you know what, I done got married, got kids, I need more money. Where can I get more money? I'm going to have to change. And people keep acting like they're never going to have to change. They're going to be able to work somewhere for 50 years and never do anything different. That's a terrible pattern. A person needs to grow. And I used to think it was a joke when they say people live to 75 but die at 25, and I thought, oh, that's ridiculous. But I'm starting to meet people who are 50, 60 years old, and their routine is every time it's football season, we do football. When it's Christmas, we do Christmas. When it's summer, we vacation this one part. But never, ever, ever do they have what? New investments, new different things. I remember meeting this guy whose dad, he always drove this pickup truck, but he had rentals all over town. And that rental truck, that truck looked raggedy. I don't care what he said, but he loved it. It was just one of those older Fords. But it's like, only thing that's going to change about your life if you're not careful. If you're not careful, what will happen is, why is it blurry? Hold on, y'all. Get unblurry. There you go. If you're not really forcing yourself to grow or have new problems, you're going to look up in 5 years. Like I keep telling people, If you don't have a plan written out for where you're going in 5 years, you're already there. You're just going to be doing the same thing just 5 years from now. Right? If you're eating bad now, what, in 5 years it'll catch up with you. Oh, Eric, I got a great metabolism. I can eat bologna sandwiches and Five Guys all the time. Okay, well, don't worry. In 5 years, I'll see you. There's a couple YouTubers. I'm not joining anybody's misery, but there's a couple YouTubers I follow who are turning 30 years old and 35 years old, and now they're struggling. They're struggling with the weight. They're struggling with these challenges. They're struggling to do all these weightlifting challenges. Why? Because they're older and they didn't think they'd ever get older. Now I enjoy watching their channels because it's funny. They'd be like, oh, I hurt my wrist last week. Yeah, you're not 25. You know what I mean? And that's why I love, these are ones that I watch that are encouraging. Nick Bear Fitness, Max Chewing. His brother is really good too. Chase Chewing is really great on Instagram, really motivational. Their whole family's pretty good. Oh man, that traffic on the other side. Do y'all see that? Holy crap, do I have to come back through that? Crap. Anyway, Chase Chewing, and Christopher Guzman here, 54 likes. Anyway, I was saying, nah, this isn't California, this is Colorado. This is cold California, what they call it. I was saying I watch YouTube channels where people are growing and doing new things. What are the growing and doing new things? Christian Guzman, Max Chewing, Chase Chewing. His brother's more on Instagram than YouTube, but he's on YouTube as well. He did a very smart strategy. Small channel, but he recommends things, all affiliate money. Nick Bear Fitness. I actually go to their gym. I actually was there when it was beginning at their old gym. But anyway, and I like watching those guys because you can see them growing, not just as YouTubers, but as grown adults in business, right? Starting with some parts of a clothing company and then having multiple pieces in clothing companies, right? Shorts, t-shirts, all kind of stuff, candy. Growing as a person and as a business person. And what you have to do when you realize is, if you actually watch these people, you would think, man, they're doing a million things. They got a fitness, they got a YouTube channel, they got these candies, and Nick Bear has supplements. It didn't start that way. They did hyper focus on what? The first thing, which was the YouTube channel. Then hyper focus on the next thing. What was the next thing? Supplements. Then hyper focus on the next part. Like, they just keep adding on it, and that's what I do. I have hype. Thank you for whatever y'all doing. Thank you, moderators. And if any moderators have the links for my courses, put it in there for people who are asking. Hyper focus on one step at a time, right? So Nick Bear's releasing these energy bars, and that's probably the only energy bars I'm going to buy from here on out. Why? I actually go to their gym. And it's not even about being a fan. It's about actually supporting a business where I can actually see the business owner is doing well, is growing, is doing positive things. And you can do that. You can have the choice to support whoever you want. And that's why I just want you guys to, when you're on here, when everybody says, oh, you're a jack of all trades. No, I'm not. I'm a very skilled investor that invests one bit at a time. Hyper focus, then the next one. Hyper focus, then the next one. Hyper focus on getting a certain amount of trucks, because when you have 5 trucks, you kind of can dictate to a company what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, what percentages you're going to take. No, I don't have any credit repair. I sold that company, you guys. I sold it. It's gone. But hyper focus allows you to really focus hard and knock out a few things. So for me, I hyper focused on the YouTube channel, hyper focused on the touring, create courses. Now hyper focus on the trucking, then hyper focus on real estate, getting a catalog, a portfolio of properties in Detroit, hopefully more in Texas. You have to really, man, this is steep going down, you guys. You have to hyper focus at least for 90 days till you knock that first goal out. That's why when you see people talking about, oh man, I'm losing weight, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, they really can only hyper focus on 1 or 2 major goals in a 90-day window. So when people tell me their credit's bad, I'm like, just hyper focus on that for 90 days. If people say they don't have any savings, hyper focus on all the extra income you have goes to do what? Put extra money away. Man, this is like so steep. Woo. It's crazy steep. I'm in a Jeep Wrangler, if you guys don't know. Yeah, I will be definitely coming out after my sabbatical. Yeah, I'm trying to, and what I did is a combination of, I would love to do a, and it won't be cheap. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. The YouTube course will not be cheap at all. But it will basically be, it'll be live like Sundays or Thursday trainings where we basically, when you come in on Thursday, we talk about certain things about YouTube, and then you have to show your work. And I know a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people are like, oh, I gotta show that I'm actually starting? Oh no. Because that's the problem. A lot of people take courses and they never do any traction. I mean, I really, if I could go back, I would be like, in my tax lien course, I'd be like, you gotta show us where you went on there and bid. You gotta show us where you went on there and tried. Same thing with my other courses. If I could make people go on there and show me where they tried, that would make me very happy, because a lot of people be out here buying courses all year long but not taking action, and that, I don't like that, you know. Here we go, we're sliding on down. I think my turn comes up here pretty shortly, but I just want to do this video just to let you guys know the hyper focus of the power of hyper focus. You know, if you tell me there's one thing you really want to do, I want you to do nothing but that for the next 90 days. And if that's buying trucks, then just, that's all you're doing. You're taking your money and putting it all in, chips all in. If you tell me in the next 90 days you're trying to buy a rental property, that's all you gotta do. Like, and I know this is gonna hurt people's feelings, but the average person can turn around and get a rental property in 90 days. If you're talking to me and you've been talking about for 2-3 years you're gonna get a rental property and it hasn't happened, I know you're bullshit. That's just all there is to it, because you could literally go over there to any mortgage lender and find out how much you qualify for. What ends up happening, people means they have to bring a down payment. Yes, that's a part of the deal. Bringing that down payment, that's what you got to do. And if you're really serious about growing, or, you know, some people just want to say they want to do something to make them feel better. That's fine. If you want to do that, but don't do that in my space, because I like being around doers. If you tell me you want a rental property and I contact you and 90 days later and you have not got it, I know you're full of crap, because there's just properties falling out of the sky, man. A prime example, we had Asia. I was in Detroit, and I was so busy. She sends out emails, weekly emails, which some people in my group, I've elevated them to actually go look at these properties, where I just didn't see it. Oh, we might lose you in the tunnel, so hold on. All right, I guess I didn't lose you on the tunnel. So the thing about it, when I was telling them, I just didn't see it. I've been so busy, and people send me I'm on so many different email lists for properties. I just didn't see it, right? And so the property was $34,000, 3-bedroom. I mean, it was good to go. 3-bedroom, 1-bath. It was carpet. It was rent ready. Rent ready. The only thing they were doing was putting a little caulk around the tub, and that's it. And I missed it. And I was a little mad about missing it, but I missed it because I had a certain hyper focus. My hyper focus is only brick properties or vacant lots. Why? Vacant lots, you can build from the ground up. You don't have to go with digging in and tearing up holes in walls to find out what's going on behind the wall. And rent-ready rentals, right? Because if you focus on something that's $34,000, you can get that via lines of credit. You can get that via credit cards. You can get that via personal lines of credit. The power's in the acquiring the properties. That's the power. And a lot of you get with, everything's got to be perfect. No, it will not be perfect. Nothing will ever be perfect. You actually have to take action, because that's where the power comes in. Once you figure out, okay, well, this worked this time, this didn't work, that's what I know to do now. You have to hyper focus to get that done, get that push through, to get that education, to get that lesson, because all it is a lesson. Now another example is when people tell me about like a new trade, a new thing they want to do, they want to switch to a new job. I literally go, okay, are you on LinkedIn? Have you got with a recruiter? Have you done A, B, and C? Oh, no. I mean, maybe like a year from now, maybe later. That they're telling you everything. People will show you who they are. They're procrastinating. They're delaying. If you truly believe having rentals is the way to freedom, if you truly believe getting out of that rat race is for you, you would do what? Hyper focus on getting out of that rat race and knowing what your number is for freedom. That's a cute little ugly little old town there. Oh, cute. It's nice. It seems like it's packed though. I guess people want to see little old towns, you know. That's different. Anyway, but That's the thing. So yeah, perfectionism equals poverty equals procrastinating. Yeah, all that. Exactly. That ought to be a t-shirt. Because it is. The more you try to hyper focus, you guys, this school's called Gold Diggers. It's pretty funny. That's their mascot, Gold Diggers. That's pretty cool. The more you try to make something perfect, the less likely you'll do it. You know, whenever I talk to people and they're talking about being perfect, I know they're not going to do it. What can you invest in with $1,000 or $5,000? I mean, there's so many things. There's thousands of things you can invest in. I mean, what is your goal for that money? $1,000, I would just go sit in some lending club notes or monthly dividend stocks. Or I'd sit it aside till I got to 10,000, because really 10,000 is the big number. 10,000 is the big number. So monthly dividend stocks, peer-to-peer lending, that's basically it. I mean, if you want to start an online business, some kind of online business, $5,000 is more than enough to get you started and buy Shopify ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Because that's the stuff people don't talk about. People are like, oh, I got a Shopify store, but it didn't do well. And as soon as I ask them how many ads did they run a month, they look at me like I'm crazy. I know they didn't do A, B, and C. Wow, there are some really little old houses down there, and people are living in them. Good Lord.